the first night I was there, they like kept us up they don't let you sleep the first night to just get you all like freaked out and everything, you know? It's all a lot of brainwashing, but anyways, so they keep you up and I'm outside at like 3 in the morning. When you're outside at 3 in the morning in the Midwest, it's like chilly. Like no matter what time of the year, it's like kind of cold, okay? I'm outside at 3 in the morning and it's like 86 degrees outside and like so humid that you can like, and I'm like, oh man, like what did I get myself into? But so boot camp, so the Bible that I brought was the only thing I could read because, well, I had, besides letters that would come in occasionally, but so I started reading, I would read parts of the Bible and like I didn't understand it at the time, but like it gave me this like peace that like guys literally asked me, they were like, Krawza, like what, like how are you so, like why isn't this, they would just ask me like how do you have this peace? And I was like, I don't know, man. And I would even like pray like before my meals. I'd be like, God, thanks for this food. And like, it would just make my day better. And like, I would go on Sundays, Sundays were like the one day where you could like clean the barracks. By that, it's like you could maybe get away with a couple extra hours of sleep. Or it's like you could go to church. And I went to church every Sunday. And it was like I remember like the worship and everything was just so far apart from like people weren't yelling at me and like all this stuff, and it was just weird how God like came into my life at basic training like in such a weird way. Like literally I was exiled from everything, but the one thing that was constant was like God still trying to get into my life. And like now that there's all these distractions out of the way, God was like able to like open up a little bit of me, you know, to him, and like giving me this peace where no one else had it. You know, at boot camp, everything was like not fun. But so I graduated boot camp, and my mom, I remember at boot camp, was like, sent me a letter and gave me like my college classes, my college schedule, and I like read it and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to college. And so I come back, and within 48 hours of boot camp, I am off to UND. So I come like super like afraid to like do anything wrong, like just like don't know, and then I'm like off to college within like 48 hours. And so it was just a crazy transition. I woke up the first week, I would wake up in my dorm and I'd be like, I have fire guard shift, like where's the drill sergeant, you know, like so I'd be like, I'm missing something, like I'm gonna get yelled at, you know. It was just insane transition. So I went from like zero freedom to like college, which is like you're pretty much on your own. You know, it's like you can fail, you can pass, you can party, you can study, it's you. Then I was 5 hours away from anybody, and not very many of my close friends came here, or well, none of my close friends came here, and so I was just like, let's do this. And so in college, my freshman year, I dove in high school, like swimming and dive team, whatever. And so I walked on to the team here at UND, and I dove for UND my freshman year. And I also, like with that kind of came upperclassmen that had like access to like alcohol or like team parties and like stuff like that. And so I partied my freshman year, and like a lot of stuff kind of added up to all these temporary satisfactions I was seeking. You know, like I was like trying to be this like college guy, like what does that look like? You know, like going out and like getting girls and like blah blah, and like just this whole thing. And I was going after that like wholeheartedly, and I like hit this low freshman year because like none of these like temporary things I just wasn't happy. And like through this, in my residence hall, this small group leader named AJ, he used to drum for Chi Alpha, and he was like, hey man, you want to come to like small group? And I was like, yeah, like I'm a Christian, you know, like sure, yeah. And I was like, things were kind of like spiraling out of control for me at this point, and I was like, all right, I need like Jesus, here we go, let's fix something. And so I started going to this like small group, and I wasn't really going after the Lord. I came in with the intentions of applying different rules, or applying these rules from the Bible, like, okay, don't have like sex outside of marriage. And I was like, okay, like I'll do that, because like that messed me up, and I'm at this low, and I'm like, I'm all screwed up, like I understand it's bad, I'll not do that. But then other things like what causes you to stumble, still lusting, or like still like having pride in your life, and like things like that, I was just like, oh, whatever, like I would just apply certain things to help me feel more like secure about where I was at. And I remember the small group leaders were just like pouring into me, like they just like saw a lot of me. And I remember this, the other leader, Tanner Trozen, he would like, I didn't even know what it was at the time, but he would like do one-on-ones with me. And he would just hang out with me and him. He'd just ask me if I want to get coffee and stuff. And he would just pour into me, and I would just like keep showing him this face of like, I'm a Christian, like, dude, sounds great, like I'm great, look at me, I'm great, but like I just really didn't open up to my group about this other side of me, and like Tanner went as far as like explaining to me like baptism in the Holy Spirit and everything, and it was crazy because I was like I was kind of freaked out. First of all, I was like, all right, man, like, cool, like, good for you. I'm like not doing that, But so he like poured all this and like really opened up to me and was trying to just like get me on fire, and like with no fruit, like really at all freshman year. And so fast forward, after freshman year, I had to go to my job training, so after every soldier goes to boot camp, and then there's a second half. It's like their job training, whatever their training would be. Like if you're a mechanic, a cook, or whatever. I was like satellite communications, and so mine was like 7 months long. So after freshman year, I left for like 7 months, May to December, and in that time, I was like really torn, because like part of me was just like dying, because there's no alcohol, there's no girls, it's all real, that part of me, that all those distractions in my life were just cut. But then the other part of me was like also just getting burnt out, because like so I would go to church in training because they needed a drummer, and I play drums. And so I was like, sure, I'll drum. Also got to go to breakfast first on Sundays in front of the whole company. Got to go first because they're like, oh, Krawza's going to church, like he's got to go, so he gets to go first. And I'm like, yes, like first breakfast, And so I was all about it. And whenever we got in trouble, we'd have to practice like DNC, like just march out in the field for like an hour or 2 hours, just really lame. But if you went to church, didn't have to go. And so there were like some good reasons to go to church and some pretty bad reasons to go to church. But I'd go to church and I played drums, and it was good. But the only thing I was like getting out of church was just that, like, I just feel bad. Like all it does is make me feel bad. It's just a bunch of rules, and like I'm just like getting like burnt out of this. And it's crazy because all the guys in my company thought I was this like really good like churchgoer dude. Like, oh yeah, Krawza is like church boy. I'd get called church boy because I was the only one in my barracks to even go. And you can't be anywhere alone in training, so they'd take 2 people to get me there, and then 2 people would have to come and pick me up. So like, it was just crazy how alone I was, and how like people, I don't know, it was just tough for sure. And so in that time, I really got burnt out, and I really just wanted to get back into the world. And so come December, last Christmas, but anyways, so come December, I come back, and I just like dive in. All my friends are home for winter break, and we just like start going hard and like drinking and partying, and like just, it was bad. I remember my mom was like moving out of her apartment in with her boyfriend, and so her apartment was like kind of empty. And so I was like kind of having a good idea. I was like, all right, boys, like let's, like I got this place, you know, let's do this. And that was like the first time I ever blacked out, and like cops came because like we were being loud, and we didn't let them in. But then my mom in the mail got like a notice, and it was like saying that she couldn't live there anymore but luckily she was moving out. But like it just shows how like irrational I was being, and how bad I just wanted to like have fun. And then that carried into college. When I came back for the spring semester, I was like living in this party house with the swim team, and I was like addicted to chewing tobacco too from training, and so I had like addictions in my life, and yeah, I was just like kind of broken at this time. And so part of like being gone for so long is you want to see old faces, you know, and so you just want to see old friends and stuff. And so I went to Chi Alpha freshman year multiple times, and I went to Freedom once, and but I just never really like gave God that 100%, you know. But I knew people in Chi Alpha, and so I was like, I'm gonna go. Maybe I'll see Tanner, you know, or maybe I'll see AJ. So I went to Chi Alpha, and immediately Bryce like came up to me, and he's like, "Hey Keith," and I'm like, "You know my name?" Like, oh, and he's like, you know, we should really meet up sometime. You know, are you in a small group? And then